Welcome to Kumba Software DPAA tutorials. This tutorial is about renaming objects in DataPower. And in fact, it's a refactoring rename. You're going to really like this because there's no other tool on the planet that does this as effectively and as easily as DPAA does. So sit back and be sure to set your video playback to high definition. Though some visual details of DPAA may have changed since this video was created, the functionality will be the same. So to get started with all this fun, what I've got is I've got a couple of appliances selected. I've got a domain, although selected. This is a little bit detailed, but I just want to point out that we've got a domain selected. We could do more than one domain at a time if we wanted to, but at the end of the day, this is a delicate operation. So let's just be careful about it as we move forward. With great power comes great responsibility. What I have is I have the Find Objects tab selected, and I have a JSON setting objects in here that I'm going to demonstrate. So I'm going to search all the JSON setting objects. And as you can see, I've got our JSON settings objects with a really bad name. And I want to rename that thing. But for good practice, I want to, and this is a matter of a different video, but what we want to do is I'm going to right mouse click over these two and I'm going to select Show Referenced By. Because what we want to do is an impact analysis. We want to be able to say, what's going to break if this doesn't work well? And we can see that this multi-protocol gateway is going to break on both appliances if something goes wrong with this JSON setting objects. You can see that the JSON setting objects is referenced by an XML manager, which is referenced by a service called Delta Service. So we're just going to rename this guy back to Delta Service because that's what makes most sense. So I have the two objects selected. What I can do is I can use my hamburger menu, or I can use a right mouse click, and I can select Refactor, Rename. And so what this does for me is this gives me a wizard where I can go up and I can actually change the name of the object. So this won't change it right away. So I'm just going to call it Delta underscore service, just for the fun of it. Now, something's going to happen very interesting here because this checkbox called synchronized changes is turned on. And when this happens, when this is on, whether I'm doing 2 or 10, the idea is that when I rename this one, it's going to rename the other one the exact same way. This saves you from typing, it keeps everything consistent, and ensures that whether you have 1, 2, or 10 appliances where you're doing this, you're going to be able to rename that object. Now, I'll make one other note for you. You can only rename one object type in a given domain, in a given appliance at a time. And the reason for that is we want to prevent naming collisions as the refactoring is occurring. So as I said, it's a delicate operation in DataPower, but the good news is we've given it a new name. We're going to go next. It's going to give you a warning and enable you to keep the original one. In other words, if things go bad and you want to revert back to the other configuration, you can do that. But to show you how confident I am in this working, I'm going to turn that off. But otherwise, you might want to also keep that on because you can keep the original one. You don't have to worry about losing it if something were to go wrong. And then I'm going to select Finish. Then what it's going to do is it's going to go about renaming that object. It's going to go refactor things. It's going to refactor references. And you can see it's refactoring a reference in an XML manager service. And then it's setting up that configuration. Then it's deleting the original one. So that's what keep original does, is it won't go through that step right there. And then it saves the config. So what I can do is when it saves the config and you finish, it goes ahead and reapplies the last search you did, so that you can see that now we have a JSON setting objects named Delta Service. There's no search pattern in here, so I'm not missing or I'm not hiding it, or no trick has been played. The one that was called really bad name is gone. And I'm going to select these two, and I'm going to select Show Referenced By. And so what we're going to get out of this is we're going to get a list of the two objects all the way up the chain. You can see the JSON setting service, now named Delta underscore service, is being referenced by the XML manager, which is being referenced by the multi-protocol gateway, and all those objects are enabled and up and saved. And that's a beautiful thing to be able to do. If you've ever had the need to rename an object in DataPower, but were so scared to do it because you didn't know what it would do or how to do it. And you can't just simply do a search and replace in a configuration file because there may be more than one object named that. Now, only one object of this type can be named this way, but every object of a unique type can be named the same thing if you want it to be in a domain. Not a good idea, but you can understand the delicacy of this. You can also refactor, rename other things, and we'll go through that in some other tutorials. There's also a refactor replace, which is a matter of another tutorial. So you want to go out to www.kumbasoft.com. Go to the features and tutorials page out there, and there's all the features and tutorials, this video, the show reference by, the refactor, replace, and all those capabilities that you need to be able to know and want to take advantage of the power of DPAA in your environment. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day.